Alright, welcome to the construction of the 9-point circle. So the first thing I'm going to do is go to my rubric and look and see what I'm being asked to do. Alright, step 1, draw an acute scalene triangle. It's 3 non-congruent sides. So to do this, I'm going to attempt to draw an acute scalene triangle. I'm going to use some long lines, and you'll see why here in a minute why I do that. So I'm going to draw a line this direction, I'm going to draw a line this direction, and I'm going to draw a line in this direction. So it looks like I have an acute scalene triangle. So if I go and look at my project and I go and look at the rubric, triangle drawn, that's 10 points received. So I'm going to scroll to the second set of directions. It says construct a perpendicular bisector for each side. Perpendicular bisectors are perpendicular to a side and go through a midpoint. So let's go try that. I'm going to grab my compass real quick. So to construct a perpendicular bisector, my goal here, my task here should put my pencil point or my pivot point right here on the vertex. Ensure that my compass is more than halfway across the angle. Okay, I need to swing an arc down and swing an arc up. Without changing the radius of my compass, I will move to the other side and I will complete this same construction, swing an arc up and down. So my perpendicular bisector is created by connecting the intersection of those points. So I'm going to do that here in black. From this point to this point all the way to the other side of the triangle, that is my perpendicular bisector. Now here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to erase these construction marks to eliminate any confusion. So I'm going to get rid of these construction marks. And my perpendicular bisector goes from here to here. So I'm going to try and get rid of, I'm going to leave it there. Okay, so that is the perpendicular bisector of this side of the triangle. So to move on through my project, I must do another perpendicular bisector of the other side. So I need to make sure that my compass is on the vertex, the pivot point, and the pencil point is more than halfway across. Okay, I'm going to swing an arc down and swing an arc up. Without changing the radius of my compass, I will move to the other vertex that I'm trying to bisect, and I will swing an arc up and down. So I'm going to do a blue line here, or I'm going to keep it black. So from here to here, the intersection of the arcs, and all the way across to the other side, that is my perpendicular bisector. So again, I'm going to erase my construction marks. You guys can lightly erase them, but there still needs to be evidence of a construction. So I have this side bisected, I have this side bisected, and I'm going to attempt to bisect the third side. Make sure my compass is more than halfway across the side. So I'm on the vertex here, my pencil point is more than halfway across. I'm going to swing an arc down and swing an arc up. Without changing the radius of my compass, I will move it to the other vertex and I will swing an arc up and down. So again, in black, I'm going to connect this intersection to this intersection. And notice that all 3 points meet at one singular location. This point is known as my circumcenter. So let me erase my construction marks for a second for clarity. Alright. And I can even go through and try and erase some of the links of these black lines so you guys don't get confused by them. So I'm going to get rid of this line right here with my eraser. I'm going to get rid of this line right here with my eraser. It's not going to be perfect, but you're going to kind of get the gist of it here. Alright, and then one more right right here. So there we go. I am also going to mark for clarification where the 90-degree angle is. This is a 90-degree angle, and this is a 90-degree angle, and this is a 90-degree angle. So I'm going to go back and look at my rubric real quick. It says construct a perpendicular bisector, label the intersection the circumcenter. It says trace over these lines with one color and shade your rubric. So down here, when it says construction of perpendicular bisectors, I'm going to lightly shade that in black. That way the teacher knows what color your perpendicular bisectors are. So what I'm missing right now is labeling the point of concurrency, the circumcenter. So I'm going to go back to my project, and I'm going to abbreviate, if you don't mind, that this location is the circumcenter, the CC. That way I know where it is. Okay, so I'll go back and check and see what the next step is. The next step, it says construct an altitude for each side of the triangle. It said altitudes are perpendicular to a side and go through a vertex. So let's change some marks here. I'm going to have my compass over here. I'm going to do my constructions in purple ink. That way we can see where they are. And I'm going to construct my altitudes in, let's go with blue right now. So to construct an altitude, okay, it's a two-step construction. Step number one, your pivot point goes at the vertex, and you need to make sure that your pencil point goes somewhere below the line. So now the length of these lines is described. As I swing an arc to the left and I swing an arc to the right, you see why I need this line outside my triangle. So this generates 2 points. It creates a working point here, and it creates a working point here. At this point, the construction is pretty similar to the construction of a perpendicular bisector. Your pivot point goes on location 1. Okay, your pencil point must be more than halfway across. So I'm going to swing an arc up, and I'm going to swing an arc down. Without changing the radius of my compass, I will move to the other intersection of my original arc, the working point, and I will swing an arc up and down. Now this is just coincidence that my vertex is at this intersection, so I'm going to connect the intersections from here in blue all the way down here, and that blue line is now known as an altitude. An altitude, I'm going to erase my construction marks while I talk, is perpendicular to a side and goes through the opposite vertex. So again, just kind of cleaning up my picture here. This blue line is an altitude. So I must also create an altitude for this side of the triangle. So if I'm going to create an altitude for this side of the triangle, I'm going to put my vertex on, or my pivot point on this vertex. Okay, verify that my pencil is somewhere, it doesn't matter where it is, below the line. I'm going to swing an arc to the left and swing an arc to the right. Now I have 1, 2 working points. So now that I have those 2 working points, I'm going to put my pivot point on the first location. I'm going to swing an arc up and down. I'm going to move to the other working point, which is right here, and I'm going to swing an arc up and down. So I missed this one. I need to go back to my original working point and pick that one up. Verify that everything is going to be correct here. So I need to go back and pick that one up. So I take my straight edge, and I'm going to connect this working point to this intersection, those 2 intersections, and it creates another altitude. So again, let me get rid of my construction marks. Quite a few of them, all in purple, is going away carefully. So I have 2 blue altitudes. and I need to construct the third one. So my third altitude will be from this vertex over here, and I'm really hoping that it goes through this intersection right here. So again, my pivot point goes on the vertex. I need to extend my pencil so it is somewhere below the line. So that meets the criteria. I'm going to swing an arc to the left and swing an arc to the right, which creates my 2 working points. So I need to go to the first working point. I need to extend my compass so that it's somewhere halfway across the line. I think right here looks good. I'm going to go an arc down and an arc up. Go to the other working point, which is right here, and I'm going to arc up and down. So creates an intersection. When I connect this work intersection to this intersection all the way through to the other side, I create an altitude. So my altitude goes from the opposite side through the vertex. Alright, let me clean some of this stuff up for you guys real quick. Alright, here's where we're at now. So I got rid of my construction marks. At this point, I'm going to go back and check my rubric. The rubric says all 3 altitudes meet at 1 point. Label this the orthocenter. So I'm going to go back to my project. This one location should be the orthocenter. I'm going to abbreviate for short there. Again, I'm going to clean up some of these lines. I don't have like a legit eraser like you guys do. So here's what we have. Let me make this a little bigger here. So get rid of this line. Get rid of this line and trim that line back a little bit. So my 3 blue lines meet at the orthocenter. Again, I'm going to label where the 90-degree marks are. This is 90 degrees, this is 90 degrees, and this is 90 degrees. So I have 2 critical points here. Let's go back and check the rubric and see what's next. It says find the midpoint of each line segment from the vertex to the orthocenter. Good thing I have my orthocenter labeled and I should know what a vertex is. So it says generating the midpoint is open to student discretion. So you can do that by construction or you can do that by measuring, but make sure you're going from the vertex to the orthocenter, from the vertex to the orthocenter, and from the vertex to the orthocenter. So I'm going to attempt to measure this. I haven't done this in a while. Hopefully it works out for me. Let's see, math tools, a ruler. Okay, so for this ruler, I'm going to go from the vertex at 0 to, let's see, from the orthocenter to here is right at, I'm going to go with 20, let's see, 1, 2, 22. So half of 22 is 11. I'm going to, in green ink, mark 11 right there. And that should be the midpoint of the vertex to the orthocenter. Let me try that again. I'll try and speed it up for you guys. From the vertex to orthocenter. That one appears to be 35, and half of 35 would be about 17 and a half, so 15, 16, 17 and a half. Okay, let me make that point a little bigger so we can see it. Right here is that point. And then again, the last one, it goes from the orthocenter to the vertex. Apologize for any lack of measuring skills here. So I'm going to call that, let's see if I can get close. I'm going to call that 103, 104. Half of that would be right here at like 52. So right now I have 3 points. I'll make those green for you guys a little bigger so you can see them. I have a point here, I have a point here, and I have a point here. Okay, those are the midpoints of my ortho, or the midpoints from the vertex to the ortho center. Okay, and it's up to you how you do that. You can do it construction, you can fold your paper, you can measure with a ruler. That's not really a huge part of this project, but this next point is pretty important. It says labeling your points. Points 1 through 6 are marked at each 90-degree angle, hence why I drew 90-degree angles there. Points 1 through 3 are where your perpendicular bisector meets your triangle. So I'm going to go do that. Points 1, 2, and 3. So black is perpendicular bisectors, that's point 1. This is point 2. And this is point 3. Okay. This is going to help you guys see the 9-point circle. So I got point 1, 2, and 3. Oh, let's see if I can get point 1 back where you can see it. Point 1 would be right here, and then point 2 and point 3, I'm going to tuck it in right here. Okay, then I'm going to have points on the rubric. It says points 4, 5, and 6 are where your altitude meets your triangle. So I'm going to do, let's see, point 4 is right here, point 5 is right here, and point 6 is right here. And then point 7, 8, and 9 are the midpoint of the line from the vertex to the ortho center. So again, I'm going to go back and label, call this point 7, and then point 8, and over here point 9. So those are the 9 points I need. All right, now the last thing that I need is let's go check the rubric so we can all follow along. Find the midpoint from the orthocenter to the circumcenter. Label this point X. So I'm going to go to my project here. You can draw a line from here to here, so you can actually, I'm going to do this with, I don't know, baby blue. From here, the orthocenter, to here, the circumcenter. And it's my job to find the midpoint of that line. You can construct it, which I'm going to do, or you can measure it, which probably sounds easier, but I'm going to go ahead and construct it. So I got my compass here, put my pivot point on one end, make sure my pencil point is more than halfway across, and swing some arcs, right? Without changing the radius of my compass, go to the other endpoint or the orthocenter and swing the same arc. So when I connect the lines from intersection to intersection, it creates this point right here. And that is now going to be known as point X. So let me get rid of my construction mark so everybody can see what's going on here. It's like I said, you don't have to have this line here, and you don't have to have this line here, but it is the creation of this point, which we are asked to label point X, that is important. Okay, so I'll go back to the rubric, and it says label this point X, place your pivot point on point X, and extend your pencil point to point 1. So let's try that. So pivot point goes on X, and pencil point should go on point 1, which is right here where the perpendicular bisector meets the altitude. And theoretically what should happen is you should go through point 8, point 2, point 5, point 9, point 3, point 6, point 7, point 4, all the way back to the beginning. That is why it's known as a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9-point circle. Ooh. All right, go back to your rubric. And it says, drawing a circumscribed triangle. Place your pivot point on the circumcenter. Extend your pencil to a vertex. So the last one you're going to do is you go to your circumcenter. Place your pivot point on a vertex. And you should be able to draw a circumscribed triangle. And it goes through every vertex. That is pretty much your project in its entirety, right? Not an unbelievable ask. So when you construct your altitudes, you get 10 points. The construction of point X, the center of your 9-point circle, is 10 points. Labeling points 1 through 9 is 10 points. If you complete it in class, 10 points. If you don't have time to complete it in class, take it home. But you're going to lose 10 points. And neatness is 10 points. Okay, so I went through the instructions. Again, there's going to be more time in class to practice this. I'm posting this video on Tuesday, November 13th, which would be about 2.5 weeks before the deadline. Thank you and good luck. This is Baker in B107 if you have any questions. All three teachers have a large working knowledge of this, and you can go find any adult. Good luck, guys.